Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see the part 2 to this situation.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So I guess we're now on part 3 of an ongoing situation involving Mythic Talent and its co-founder, Asmongold. We really got the bad ending of this messy situation, with ultimately Asmongold and Mythic Talent agreeing to part ways. Now, this has been a situation that's been brewing for about a week, where there have been call-out posts targeting people who work with Mythic Talent. They're being canceled through guilt by association because Asmongold co-founded the agency. This resulted in some people announcing their departure or confirming their previous departure from the agency. This also led to some of their former collaborators announcing their grievances with the company, and now we have some updates regarding that, and a statement from Mythic Talent regarding some of their alleged bad practices as a business. And then ultimately we're going to see Asmongold parting ways with the company, and how that actually pans out, nobody really knows right now. But what I do know is that his departure is being used as an example of cancel culture working, and people are not just stopping with this.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew that they was going to push him into not want to affiliate with it in order for him pretty much to save the company and the people associated with it. Because if he disassociates, then maybe people will stop harassing them, right? And they're going to celebrate because of this and think that they got a victory, and that whenever they want to, I guess, affect a whole company and people's livelihoods and their income and what their family could use to help take care of them, they're going to do that same tactic, and it really sucks.
Quote unquote win with Asmongold's departure. They're now targeting the remaining Mythic Talent creators and trying to get them removed as well. So let's get the full context really quick before we get into the new stuff. If you're not familiar with Mythic Talent, it's very simple. They're basically a middleman for sponsorships. Content creators work with them, and Mythic Talent finds them sponsors, and they help facilitate that for a cut. Now, Asmongold is a co-founder of Mythic Talent. You can see his video announcing his starting up of that company a couple years ago. And well, about a week ago, number 1, rank 1 Asmongold hater Casey Tron decided to start a harassment campaign, not only against Asmongold, but anyone associated with Mythic Talent. This isn't just some random case of Asmongold derangement syndrome. Wow. This was a post she made that was targeting the creators that were listed on their website. She even provided a link to these creators and basically asked people to look at these talents and demand that these talents do something, whether that's leave the company or speak out against Asmongold. And this is something that she confirmed on a recent stream and made her intentions very clear.
But no, like what I find like the most disturbing now is like these people who are still affiliated with him. You know, it's like, why are there people still on his talent agency? Why is his talent agency have all these sponsors when every other day he's advocating for people to be murdered in the streets? Like every day he's literally advocating for some other minority group to be killed by the police. You know, him and XQC are laughing about Renee Good being shot. They're like laughing and hee-hawing about it. It's like, why does Asmongold have a talent agency that has so many people on it? And why is it sponsored by so many? Like, that's like the point that I'm at now. Like, who are the people
just using minorities as a weapon? You disgusting for that. Give her a nasty song. Cause that's so crazy, bro. Like, in no other way would you give a damn about minorities. But when you can use it as a weapon to attack someone that you disagree with, I don't understand why anyone would associate with. Shut your simple self up. I don't understand why anyone would associate with you, simpleton.
Yeah. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, yeah. You know your name.
Yeah, she's foul, bro. Just super foul. Like, I don't know why anyone would even want to go to this level of just demonic behavior. Like, how does this benefit you?
that we're seeing pictured with Asmongold within the last 6 months? have they answered for it?
As you can see from that clip and also her further reply, this is all about guilt by association. Her vendetta against Asmongold is the fuel behind this. This is not about doing the right thing. She just wants to cause problems for Asmongold, and she's allowing these creators at Mythic Talent to be caught in the middle and literally used as pawns in her war against Asmongold, which resulted in harassment against completely apolitical streamers who are now being called things like Hitler Youth racists simply for working with this agency that helps them find sponsorships. Now, there was an interesting...
And they have no political stance, really. They're not on the left or right. They just doing their thing. They're not focused on that. They're not making that their end all be all. But they still have to deal with harassment. Think about that. Yo, I'm telling you, Hassan, he's leading these people to do these things. Creating a bunch of mini versions of him to just put people through it, bro. Like, it's so foul.
Development the other day where a former Mythic Talent creator named Grimmy came out and made some statements only a year after she joined the agency, where she said some vague things about stuff going on behind the scenes.
I don't know. I pretty much all I'll say is that was there was something very, very crazy. I think people would be pretty upset about it if they do, and that's pretty much all I can say. I think everyone would be pissed, but I am not going to talk about it. And if I hear any rumors spreading about why I left, where they're trying to frame me negatively, I will talk about it. And I will tell everyone exactly what it was. I was really, really, really upset. And I think everyone would have been, like, universally there. So, all right. I would have been upset too if you knew. But Grimmy got receipts. I do, actually. I have proof of something. But I'm going to see if I can't. Well, I'm 50-50 on whether or not it's going to become a legal matter or not. So that's pretty much.
They watch this idiot? Like, people actually find this person entertaining? That's crazy. We living in a wild world right now. If you ain't gonna talk about it, why are you talking about it? Like, this is all some weird, I'm trying to destroy Asmongold thing, and I'm not gonna get behind that. It's weird as hell. So where does she get the right to tell other creators where they can get their money right after Ethan just took all of hers? That's facts. Like, who does she think she is? Nah, that's facts. 100%. It's a surprise, and Nisa wants to stream with her. For real? Oh, that's about to be horrible. That can't go good at all.
Shit.
Now, as you can see, this was my second video involving this situation, and my reaction to that initial clip was, well, I want more details. You know, on the one hand, she was saying she didn't really want to talk about it, but she was, of course, talking about it. And also, she was saying, you know, it's kind of silly, but also saying it's pretty serious and could involve legal action. Now, the good news is we got some clarifications. We did get specifics about her grievances with the company, and there's a Reddit post summing this all up, but here's some of the screenshots from her stream where she is trying to allege that Mythic Talent was essentially scraping from the top. What that means is a company would want to work with her, right? And Mythic would work as the middleman and get a number, a price for the collaboration. And what would happen is Mythic would take a portion of that initial offer, then approach people like Grimmy with that new number that has been reduced from the initial number, and then take a cut based on that number. Essentially, what she's alleging through these screenshots is that Mythic Talents would take something off the top.
So they double dipping. Oh, yeah, nah. I've had a similar situation like that happen to me, and I lost my damn mind. Like, you gonna double dip? You already getting a cut, and you gonna take a cut before I even know? So now you getting more? Nah, that's, yeah. I would be highly upset about that as well. Is that connected to Asmon in any shape or form? We don't know yet. I don't think he would be doing that. Why would he need to? This dude is rich beyond rich. But let's see. I definitely wouldn't be down with that.
Collect it for themselves and then give her essentially a lower rate than she should have gotten if they gave the real upfront number that was initially presented. And I gotta tell you, looking at this stuff, at the very least, it's confusing. And also, you can't really see it, it's very small here, but this is a personal pet peeve. I absolutely hate the lack of professionalism from these companies. It drives me insane. You can see the Mythic talent reps here. They're censored out, their names at least, but they're talking with no punctuation. They're typing with no punctuation. It's very informal. They're abbreviating words like obvious to obvi, and there's like grammatical errors everywhere. Like the whole thing seems so unprofessional. And yeah, just looking through the screenshots, it's at the very least confusing. I think it's confusing as to what was the initial offer, what did she actually get presented with, what was the cut that Mythic took. At the very least, I don't think she was malicious in anything she's done so far. I think Grimmy, even if she's wrong, she might have misunderstood a confusing set of communications coming from Mythic. If she's right, however, well, that would mean that Mythic was taking money off the top, and that would be a very bad look for them. Now, Mythic will address this sort of and kind of make things even more complicated, but we'll get back to that in just a second. So the primary update for this video involves Asmongold and the fact that they are parting ways with him. So here's the statement made late last night. We have spoken with Asmongold and mutually agreed to part ways. Mythic represents creators from a wide range of backgrounds and perspectives, and we are committed to fostering an environment grounded in respect and responsibility. We remain focused on supporting our creators and continuing our mission to help them build sustainable, long-term careers. Now, a lot of people take issue with this language about accepting people with a wide range of backgrounds and perspectives, given the context. But number one, right off the bat, you can see down here, the replies are locked. Now, I swear, I could be wrong. I swear there's an Asmongold quote out there where someone asked, why do people on Twitter lock the replies? And he said it's because basically they're cowards. Anyone who does this, especially companies, it basically says we don't want to deal with the backlash directly. You're gonna have to at least quote the tweet instead of directly reply. It is not a very good look. It doesn't show a lot of confidence.
It is pretty soft. It's like posting a video and turning off the comment section. Like, yeah, nah, that's kind of crazy, bro. That's a little nasty. Like, why not? You care that much? If people are going to disagree and give their opinion, that's their right. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a damn? If they going too far, just block them. But if it's something as simple as people just giving their opinion, to cut off the whole comment section just so you don't have to, I guess, deal with it or so you won't be able to see it, yeah, it's pretty nasty. I ain't going front. That's pretty grimy.
In their decision, and people were pointing this out, saying you automatically admit you're in the wrong when you turn off replies. Foolproof distinction. Another tweet saying Asmongold did nothing wrong. Another one saying they bent the knee. Yikes. This likely happened because Asmongold refuses to censor himself. He remains unfiltered, and companies view that as a brand risk. Reminder to work with most companies, you have to censor yourself or be removed. Yeah, basically, that is very true. A lot of companies have to work with nowadays. You have to at least censor yourself or eventually you're going to get removed. I know about that personally.
Makes sense.
But here's the thing. This whole bent the knee concept, well, that's how a lot of people are taking this situation, given the context and given the vagueness. I talked about the vagueness of Grimmy's initial grievances with the company. Well, we have more details now, but that's an issue with vagueness. The post from Mythic here is very vague and open-ended. It allows people to draw their own conclusions, including saying they bent the knee. I mean, just based on context, a week ago, this harassment campaign, this guilt by association campaign, started from Caseytron, and now all of a sudden, the co-founder has parted ways with the company. I mean, a lot of people will view that as bending the knee until we hear something else. And right now,
pretty much,
I see that Asmongold is responding to tweets. He is active on Twitter, but he's so far said nothing about it. And I don't know if he's going to talk on his stream today or tomorrow about it, but we'll have to wait and see. But this is the narrative a lot of people are running with. Now, Craig here points out something interesting. Asmongold didn't leave for nothing and most certainly was bought out. He was rich. Now he's just richer. If he was bought out, Mythic will have to be very strategic with the expenses coming up, or they could be done as well. And the cold hard truth is that if Asmon wanted, he can just start over and see just as much success. That is definitely true. He could start his own company anytime he wants. He's kind of his own brand at this point. He has the finances and the name to carry pretty much anything from the ground up. But also, yeah, I think there's some very fair questions.
He's self-sufficient. Honestly, he doesn't need to depend on some kind of agency or anything like that. He generates his own income, and on top of that, has his own income in general, bro. So he wouldn't really be hurting too much from this.
Questions about what this even means when he's parting ways with the company. Is he just removing himself as a public image for the company, or is he removing himself as a creator working with the company, or is he actually stepping down as a co-founder? Like, I think it's a very fair question to ask. Does he still have interest in the company?
I would never do that. You have to buy me out. You have to take my shit. No, I'm not giving you my whole percentage of the company. You have to buy me out. And I might be done with it too, but you still gonna have to pay me for my share. I put in work. This whole thing's built off his name. Nah.
Company as a co-founder, because if so, some people would view this as a win for him. He's taking a step back. He's got less heat on him, but he can still collect money from the agency as it keeps running. These are fair questions, and hopefully he might resolve some of these. We'll have to wait and see. But here's a post from Madam Savvy saying, fascinating given the timing, very fascinating that we're still doing guilt by association in 2026. Very, very fascinating. This comes after Casey Tron, who recently settled out of court, put what looks like a harassment call to Mythic. Very, very, very fascinating that Casey Tron did not put out a harassment call to the agencies that represent both Asmongold and Hassan. That's a very good point that I raised in my previous video. Nobody, including Casey Tron, cares about Night Media, for example, which, by the way, does the exact same thing as Mythic Talent. They are there to help content creators get more sponsorship opportunities. And they're very limited as to who they work with. And who are those limited partners? Asmongold and Hassan Piker. You don't see a single person like Casey Tron or any of these people trying to harass these Mythic Talent members go after Night Media. This is much more direct. They have a very limited roster of people they work with, and it just so happens to be Asmongold and Hassan. And none of them are targeting Night Media. None of them.
It's crazy.
Because they would be punishing Hassan, who's on their side. I mean, with Casey Tron, it's very obvious. She's an orbiter of his, despite the fact that she admitted publicly that he left her high and dry during her recent settlement with Ethan Klein. But
yeah, that's so foul. So they're going to avoid calling out that company because they don't want to hurt Hassan's pockets. Because then if they hurt their daddy's feelings, there's going to be a huge backlash. They won't get to be able to orbit him. You know how like their live chat acts as a waiting room for his? They won't have that ability to even do that anymore because they made their daddy mad. It's a bunch of hypocrites, a bunch of frauds, just people I cannot respect them. I can't, bro. It's corny, is what it is.
But I digress. It doesn't serve her agenda, so she doesn't care. And she makes it very clear with her quotes of Mythic Talent's statement saying, they knew my behind wasn't gonna let up. But in all seriousness, that man should not be representing anyone. You can see how absolutely salty she is. This is not about doing the right thing. This is about beating Asmongold. It's about winning. It's about punishing him and anything he's associated with. And she'll use anyone, including innocent apolitical parties, to accomplish that, even if that means those parties get harassed in the meantime. It's all about getting back at Asmongold. And even some of the accounts promoting Casey Tron understand this likely won't do anything to Asmongold, at least with his bottom line. These accounts even admitting that they just want to have fun when confronted with the fact that with other companies, well, it seems like he still owns them despite stepping down, as he has said, or as it's been presented publicly. And again, you can see from another orbiter, Mike from PA, saying it's true. Casey Tron defeated Asmongold. Notice.
That's the guy that got defeated by a couch. The whole couch put the beats on him. He couldn't beat the couch. punches and kicks. He was the one that left sick. So why is he even trying to act like this some kind of victory? And I said that, right? Didn't I say that right before we got to this part? That they was going to treat this as some kind of victory and then start doing it even more. They're going to see this as something that they could just do.
It's not Casey Tron did the right thing or the right thing happened. No, it's about defeating Asmongold. They're just using these fake concerns as a vehicle for their hatred of Asmongold. It's all about winning at the end of the day. And for people like Mike from PA, who are morally atrocious, right? Like this guy routinely harasses people. He's put bounties on content creators' heads. He's the same idiot who told his audience that they could make citizens arrests of United States citizens if they support Israel. Absolutely deranged. And also, like, yeah, we got to play this clip every single time. We got to watch the Riz Master Mike from PA approaching the streamer Bad Bunny.
That's fine. I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I think I'm getting your attention. I feel like
did you see the news? Casey Tron defeated Asmongold. Yeah, that's kind of like the people who are celebrating this. These are the only people happy about this. Welcome to your new customer base. This person right here showing a lot of gratitude to Mythic talent. Let's see the type of account that is happy about Mythic's decision. An anti-capitalist misandrist.
Oh my gosh. So you admit that you hate men, because people don't even know that word exists. So if I was going around calling myself a misogynist, yo, fam, that's crazy. Yeah, that's different to stuff that people are able to get off right now.
So the only people happy about this hate capitalism and don't want to spend any money on the talents that purely have these opportunities because of capitalism. Isn't that very ironic?
Right.
Now, of course, don't worry. There are people ready to take advantage of the situation. These purity testing vultures coming out and saying, oh, now's my shot. I'm going to, on the one hand, virtue signal about the company and Asmongold, but on the other hand, I'm going to shoot my shot and see if I can get an in with that same company. This VTuber saying, wow. I'm glad they are parting ways. This stuff with him has gone on long enough, and it's not fair to everyone, especially those who are part of the company. I always wanted to be represented by them before I knew he was a part of the company. Maybe this will change things for the better. This person is shooting their shot. Yeah, I guess removing Asmongold makes everything better. Yeah, that's very interesting. But you know what? Hey, for people like this, I guess there's new spots to fill up because, well, former partners with Mythic talent like Nicholas Light have been axed as well. In this case, I guess silently, but of course he shared this news on Twitter saying, while on vacation for my first anniversary with my wife, Mythic Talent, my talent agency, has parted ways with me as well. And he, like many others, have mentioned that they really weren't doing much for him in the first place. It seems like a lot of the opportunities have dried up as of late. So it's not exactly a devastating blow. It's more of a slap in the face type situation. But I want to show you guys how hard people are trying to spin these related narratives on Twitter. Look at the proposed community note on this tweet, okay? Nicholas was dropped by Mythic for being openly transphobic. Number one, you need a source that literally says Mythic made this decision because of X, Y, or Z. Like, what did Mythic say? Nothing, obviously. And the source provided here is Nicholas's reply to a tweet made after he was removed from the company. So that's their proof that he was removed for being transphobic. It's a post that happened after he was removed.
So you pretty much don't know a damn thing, but they acting as if they do. This is nasty work, bro. It's best to just probably do everything yourself, not associate with these companies. I know they do help, but if this is how they gonna do you.
Absolutely insane. A complete abuse of the note system. And you can see other talents with Mythic, like Kirsha, saying what the heck is going on, which I think is a very fair question. And the responses to that, well, it raises a very, I think, understandable concern for anyone who's still working with the company. People saying, you're next, targeting Kirsha. So they're going to go after people like Kirsha next. Did you ever think it'd be enough to get Asmongold to part ways with the company? Of course not. They're going to still harass Asmongold. They're going to harass Mythic, and they're going to harass the talents who are still there. Have you ever read this growing up? If you give a mouse a cookie, that's how it works with psychopaths on Twitter. If you give them anything, they will use it. When you capitulate.
And I don't even be on Twitter. I'm thinking about trying to get back on this so it could be like a bonus way to notify my supporters when I'm going live. I'm thinking about it, but then I always convince myself, nah, because the stuff that just be on Twitter be toxic. I swear, it's a whole lot of nasty work. It's not for me. Not something I'm into.
To these people, they will keep using it against you and your company and your talents, and then they'll move on from you and start doing it to another company and wait for them to capitulate as well. This happens time and time again, and Mythic Talent, well, they screwed it up. This was a really bad approach to everything. This is going to be a gigantic blow to their company. I know a lot of people are probably not going to be happy with their current status at Mythic, seeing how all this went down and how basically the current talents are just kind of being left high and dry, ready for a wave of harassment to come their way, and well, these standards be used against them. This whole thing is an absolute disaster. But wait a second, in the quotes here, y'all not going to address skimming money off your partner's sponsorships? Well, they would. They addressed the Asmongold parting of ways first, but this morning they decided to make a statement about the...
That's what I want to see. Let's talk about the skimming. Let's get into that. Y'all want to come out to speak about Asmongold. Let's talk about the money that's missing. That's what I want to hear about. And I'm sure everybody is interested in knowing, not about this other bull crap.
Skimming off the top that was made by Grimmy. So they say this: Mythic is aware of public statements made by former talent Grimmy regarding payment discrepancies. We take her allegations seriously and have conducted a thorough review of our records. The claims that Mythic skimmed funds from her two campaigns are factually incorrect. Our records indicate that Grimmy was paid in full for both cited activations per contract terms and according to the terms of her talent agreement, which include an agreed upon management fee. The campaigns were valued at $1,200 or $2,100 and $4,400 respectively. In the first campaign, Grimmy was sent the full value of a $2,100 activation, less our agreed upon management fee, less any potential banking/transaction fees on her end. In a second
Oh yeah, that quality. I still won't be able to see it though. Still won't be able to see that. So agreed upon management fee, value to activation.
Campaign, Grimmy received the full payment of $4,400 for the campaign, less our management fee, and blah, 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 blah. Had Mythic skimmed the $100 and $400 amounts alleged by Grimmy, her payouts would have been significantly lower. Our payment platform logs every transaction, and these figures are available for independent verification via her bank statements and our portal. If any payment inconsistencies have taken place or our figures above are incorrect, we encourage Grimmy to provide us these inconsistencies so that we may remedy them. While we attempted to reach Grimmy to clarify her grievances, she chose to make these claims public before a dialogue could occur. We have sent Grimmy the banking logs, contracts, invoices, and payment receipts.
Did you kick somebody from your company while they was on vacation without having a discussion?
For these campaigns, and we remain open to reviewing any documentation Grimmy may have that contradicts them. So basically, they're putting the ball in her court. But in the process, they're saying we reviewed our own documents and we are correct. And it's up to you to disprove them with what they just sent her, apparently. And yeah, this still looks really messy. And what's very interesting about this post is, they didn't lock the replies on this one, which is very odd, given the nature of this versus the previous post they just made not even 12 hours before announcing their parting ways with Asmon. But the replies are roasting them. Nicholas Light saying, can't believe y'all would bend the knee. Not only parting ways with controversial creators, but also publicizing it, giving more fuel to the mob, making them happy. Absolutely disgraceful and disgusting of you. I thought you had a spine. I guess not. The replies are open. Interesting. I wonder why. This is so unprofessional. Is there not a single PR person on the team? To be honest, Asmongold separating from you is more of a PR move for him to stay away from your pathetic downfall. Your last post got community noted. I still didn't trust you. You will get noted on this tweet soon. This does nothing to clarify you were paid $4,400 for her sponsorship. The offer you showed her was $4,000 minus 20%. You took off $400 prior to her offer. Then you took another 20% on top of it. Are you claiming the offer she is showing is fake? So yeah, that is the confusing aspect. And I think this quote kind of sums up how I feel.
Like I said, it's probably best that Asmon disassociate with them and, do his own thing. That's probably what's best.
A lot of people feel the plot thickens. Either Mythic is full of crap or Grimmy is dumb and doesn't understand contracts. I mean, a bit blunt here, but yeah, at the very worst, if Grimmy is wrong, she just misunderstood what I can see as a confusing set of communications, a confusing structure here that was really predicated upon very informal and just kind of lazy communications from Mythic talent. And if she's right, they're not only skimming off the top, they lied. So either way, I don't think anything malicious is happening with Grimmy, and I'd be very interested to see what they send her and if she's going to address this any further. But yeah, this is an absolute mess, ladies and gentlemen. But on top of that, other creators have come out and said, I had a similar experience with Mythic, straight lied to about what the sponsor was offering. And it took me talking to the sponsor themselves to find out. Not surprised to see this.
That's crazy. There's always going to be somebody that's trying to get over, especially if you don't do the due diligence of putting in the footwork and actually finding out what's going on, getting the actual proof of what was offered. Yeah, there's people that will skim from the top. In the hood, we used to call that PC. I'm telling you, I've had run-ins with people and disagreements because they was trying to get their PC. Come on, man. I gotta get me a piece. I ain't do nothing, but just because I connected it, I deserve a percentage. And I ain't talked to you about it. I took it from your share, out of your money. There was a comedian that did that recently. I forgot, he got exposed for, I think his name was Spanky Hayes or something. But he was doing that. He would get an offer from the club to go get his friends that were comedians to come perform on the weekend. And then when they go to try to get their money, the club owner's like, I already paid y'all. I gave the money to Spanky. Didn't he give it to y'all? He's like, come on, man. Y'all know I had to take my cut. That was my cut. Get the second half. Y'all share the second half. Give me a cut of that too as well. People was nasty.
Used cars salesman, 100%. Now, I think this is a good summary so far, based on what we know. Talents leaving Mythic silently. Grimmy comes out with an account of sponsorship cuts. Gets a majority payment out of the sponsor while Mythic gets a cut for negotiating. Grimmy later calls sponsor and finds out that the real offer was higher. Mythic skimmed extra without saying stuff. They took more than the agreed 20%. She alleges black company behavior and tells other talents to demand their own sponsor documents. When confronting Mythic, get oops typo, and they refuse to show the full sponsor contract. Next day, Asmongold dips and Mythic drops a PR tweet for their sponsors. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is a pretty good explanation, a timeline of events with the not only facts, but allegations that are being addressed or not really addressed here. And Mythic talent looks pretty sloppy. At the very least, they look really, really sloppy. We don't even really know if Asmongold has completely parted ties. We don't know what it really meant when he parted ways. Is he still sitting here with an interest in the company? Is he still a co-founder? We don't really know. Hopefully he speaks on it.
Hopefully he just sold it and dipped. Sold his share and left.
And with the Grimmy situation, I guess the ball's in her court because Mythic said we investigated ourselves and found that we did nothing wrong. That's pretty much what's going on here. Very messy situation, but for now, that's going to do it for today's video. As always,
pretty nasty, super nasty work. You got to double check and triple, quadruple check everything, bro, because people will try to get over on you. And I think Asmongold was right for disassociating with them. You don't have to. Just do your own thing. But that's my opinion. Tell me what yours is down in the comment section. Also hit the hype button.